sentiment in the PulseChain community seems to be shifting. What that means exactly is a question that I think we all need to answer that question for ourselves. But we're going to listen to an interview that Crypto Coffee and Waters from Above had together, and we're going to start with the good stuff.
One other thing to mention, and it's a big debunking piece to a lot of the mythology around the XRP community, and where I think I could be very helpful to the Hex community, is back when the SEC case happened, we immediately saw a crash, like a flash crash, and then we actually saw price increase past where it was prior to the lawsuit.
The interesting thing is that he talks about what XRP did and the fact that the case against against XRP did not stop XRP from having an incredible rally soon after. And that rally brought XRP back to the point where it was before the SEC case. So if that holds true for Hex, that means we can still have significant upside. But this is not all what he said. He also had some takes that can be considered to be a little bit on the bearish side. But I gotta say a few things about Waters from Above, right? Is the interesting thing about him, he does technical analysis, and he also does some numerology. Now, I'm not a big fan of numerology and all these numbers stuff, right? But I did think it was strange that when the SEC tweeted about the case against Richard Hart, they tweeted at exactly 5:55. That was strange to me, right? That how could such a coincidence happen? And also, if you look at the timing in regards to the release of the highest of stakes as well, things seem to be falling in place. It seems as though there's almost some forces from outside that are pushing towards a certain direction. But hey, we'll leave that up for speculation, right?
Do you believe with this exodus out of EHEX and a lot of this negativity that's come from the sell-off, just purely from the continuation of the sell-off, that it's made people that were once supporters of Richard Hart actually switch? Like they've switched up and now they don't like him anymore. Again, I'm just finishing off the statement, and then it's more of a question because I know you know way more than I do. But I have had client calls, people that have paid me for calls to help them out with this whole idea here, and basically investment theory, building portfolios, etc. And a lot of them were overexposed to Hex. A lot of them have been sitting in it since it was 30 cents. And they're absolutely pissed off. They've told me straight and direct that they used to believe in this thing. Now they are in disbelief. Like they believe it's a scam. Again, this is not my words. This is people that are coming to me to hire me to help. So I'm just there as like a therapist sometimes. And these people are really not happy about it. And it doesn't seem to be that they're rare. There's many, many, many hardcore Hex fans that just don't give a shit about it anymore. And they're almost going out of their way now to be public enemies of it on their social platforms. So do you think the maybe the switch up in popularity, like it seems Richard used to be like a god to some people, and now like when you look at these charts, that doesn't seem to be the case?
Okay, now Crypto Coffee answers this question and he does it perfectly. And we're going to play that part. Before we get into that, I want to say that for me, from the channel, what I've noticed is that during the days of outrage marketing, there was a large chunk of people who were really angry about that. And given the fact that around that time, the price just kept on going down and going down and going down and going down. And after the outrage marketing, people were angry about the fact that PulseChain launch was late. And then again, I would see a lot of angry comments, right? And then you couple that with the bear market. That's max pain that has been in the community for a long time. And these are not things that, in my view, like FUD happens a lot, but it's almost like it was blow after blow after blow after blow. And it kind of, to some degree, did fragment the community. It somewhat did. I mean, there was people who came in the community who used to make content, and then some who just start to drift away. But obviously, we've got to understand this as well, right? That the key thing is that this is a long-term thing. And unfortunately, this is a trial by fire, as it were. Now, let's listen to what Crypto Coffee has to say about this. He's got an excellent response.
Yeah, so there's a lot of points to make in that. It's, first of all, I think the people that looked at Richard as a holy figure, I mean, they're going to have the hardest time with the dip because, they didn't believe in the coin because they actually believed in it. They believed in it because they relied on Richard or someone else to tell them to believe in it. And that's just not the way you should be doing.
It's called religion.
Yeah. And that there's a big part in that in the movie as well, of people that treated this like a cult, which I've always tried to take a more not that approach. That approach always worried me to a degree. It's like, guys, we shouldn't be putting all this trust in one guy. He's just a guy. He's not perfect either. He created these things, but now it's up to the community to kind of carry this forward. And I understand that people are probably angry just that the prices are down, which they're down in everything, right? If you were holding Solana from the top, you're down 90%. There's a lot of different coins we could talk about that are down. So Absolutely. In a way, this is also just the market depression and anger phase, right? The difference, you go from like denial, depression, anger, and then you need people to be maximally frustrated before you can really go back up. The sellers have to be totally exhausted. So it's not surprising that people are angry, but a lot of the people that I know that are the long-term thinkers, the hardcore, I guess you could say the hexagons that actually do have multi-year staking ladders, I don't see a lot of that same, like I see, exhaustion, I see depression and maybe a little anger, but a lot of these people that have their multi-year ladders that believed in this product for, a decade or more, I'm not seeing so much of that. Maybe it's just my particular people I follow on my news feed, but Look, a lot of people I think just didn't realize that this wasn't a get rich in a year or two thing, right? Like it's a get rich slow scheme, as with all crypto, right? It's time in the market rather than timing the market. And so, if people wanted to get out, I hope they would have gotten out by now. But there's a difference in, I think, the types of people that got into Hex, where a lot of people got in it because they saw other people get rich and they just said, hey, I want a piece of the action. And then there's some people that said, I look at this like a long-term savings account where I can stake, 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years from now. And, just assuming the price is higher than it is now, I'll be making yield and, I can dollar cost average my way in on these dips. And that's just a completely different framework, I think, in which to look at this. So, I understand that, it is down massively, right? And so people hopefully the sellers are becoming exhausted, because that's the only way we can break back out, is by rinsing out all the non-believers, right? All the people that don't think this is going to happen.
Okay, so I agree completely with Crypto Coffee. And I think that you should believe in the project for the merits of the project itself. And I do believe that this is just a setup for a massive comeback. But I am starting to notice some sentiment shifting in the community. I mean, you're starting to see some people who are hardcore believers start to question whether or not this is the right place to be. And I want to read a tweet from Crypto7, right? It said, I noticed a few days, Hex streamers have been starting to say, if we recover for the first time. Perhaps that's what we needed to bottom out, to flash out some of that rock solid certainty that we all had. I don't know, no predictions, but it seems very possible. So you're starting to see some people who are the hardcore diehard believers get shaken a little bit. But I think that the new perspective has to be now that PulseChain stands on its own, PulseX stands on its own, these projects stand on their own, and they can succeed on their own merit. And I think we should also, since now Crypto Coffee talks more about this in the full interview, right? That these projects should now have a chance to succeed on their own merits without everything resting on Richard Hart. Now, it has always been decentralized, but there's always this, that the best founder ever, who does the best for the project, who builds the best performing assets, and he might have to somewhat take a back seat. Now, he might have to take a back seat? The reason I say that is because if you look at what's going on with the SEC, they use these live streams as an example of managerial effort and trying to push that into the territory of being a security. So the SEC might also be trying to push on the side so that he plays a lesser role in the community. So all in all, the projects will have to stand on their own 2 feet. We probably have found a bottom. If we have not, we will find a bottom at some point. I find it difficult to think that we're not at bottom territory. But whatever the case might be, I do think that this ecosystem will flourish because of the decentralized nature of it, because of the community and the values of the community as well. But I thought that this is something that I think I should share with people, because I think there is some of this sentiment there. And I think that everybody should, obviously, in crypto, never put more than you're willing to lose, right? But I do think that this ecosystem will flourish over time and will be one of the biggest ecosystems out there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. And as usual, not financial advice. I'll see you again next time.